Welcome to Go Play Esports Podcast with Christopher Turner, Go Play founder and CEO, esports coach at the Southern University Lab, and gamer. Discussions on the emergence of esports at the K-12, collegiate, and professional level. Let's go! Let's go play!
Hey, welcome to the show. This is your host, Christopher Turner again. This is another episode of Go Play Esports Podcast, man. You heard the intro, you know what we're about to discuss. We discuss everything esports from, school level to collegiate to professional, man. This COVID-19 pandemic has allowed me to really been able to slow down and network with people online and run into some interesting people. And this episode is no exception to that. Today's guest, he's a 33-year-old from Manchester, no, not New York, UK, across the pond. He helps drive business development side of business for partnerships, sponsorships, and hospitality. His background is in sales and marketing, and before that, he was actually a chef for 10 years, man. So kudos to being probably on top of your game in the chef game, and then flipping over and being on top of your game within the realm of esports and marketing and development and sponsorships, my man. But without further ado, let's welcome Lee Cramp BD Development Manager for the Esports Awards to the show. Welcome to the show, Lee.
Hey, Christopher. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem at all, man. Thanks for coming on to the show, man. I know it's a little time difference, so I really appreciate it.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. We did a brief introduction, man. Tell the listening audience a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, as you mentioned there, Christopher, I'm from Manchester in the UK. Not as much sun over here as you guys get over in central states, but we get by. And, I was in the catering industry for around about 10 years, worked quite a high level in the kitchens, and then I just really wanted to do something more. Don't get me wrong, I love cooking, and it's still a great hobby of mine. But, I just really wanted to do something else in the world, really. So I moved into a sales role for another company, found out I was pretty good, and then helped them to pioneer sort of a North American division. I went out to the Chicago office a few times out there. And then I ended up leaving there because, things didn't really sit right at the end of the day. I don't really want to go into that. So I really always wanted to get into, sort of gaming, esports, and work in the industry. And then just by chance, I saw my managing director now put up a post on LinkedIn. So I went for it, and then I hounded him every single day until he let me come and work for him, basically.
Man, it's crazy, man. Just being consistent work, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, you're chefing, you get into marketing, then you bully this guy to a job. Where in life, man, did gaming come into play for you, man? Like, when did you start gaming?
Well, it was since I was a little kid, really. I remember quite clearly still now. My mum brought me my first console, which was the Sega Master System. So bullying the games like Sonic and Alex the Kid and so on. And really just sort of carried on and developed through there, going on to like the Mega Drive and everything else from that. And then it's where it all changed, I guess, is when they dropped the PlayStation. And, that's from there, I've never really looked back. I've always sort of swapped between PlayStation and Xbox. I am more of a console player, but, I've settled back now with the PlayStation, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm a PlayStation guy too, Lee. So I know you're busy. I know you're constantly working. Do you still have time to play still?
Oh yeah. Probably. I'll be honest with you. I literally just came off of a Warzone battle on Call of Duty just before this.
Cool, man.
yeah. I get in as much gaming as I can. So I mean, it sort of perks with the job. I always tell my girlfriend that I'm working. So she's like, "What do you mean you're working? You're playing a game?" It's like, yeah, it's the job that I do. So so I get away with it a little bit.
I know that's right. So what's besides Warzone? What are you playing right now?
To be honest with you, I'm focusing a lot on Warzone, but I also like the GTA, even though that's taken a back seat for quite some time. I play a little bit of FIFA. I'm not very good at it, but I still play it. And what? There was a game that I downloaded the other day. I had it on my console for a while, but I never played on it. So I started playing that the other day. It was The Last of Us Remastered. I asked a couple of people about it who played it before, and they said that it's quite relevant now. So I thought, I'll give that a go, seeing as the Call of Duty servers went down a couple of times on me. So I was like, no, I'm just going to go on something else before I throw my controller. So
we all have thrown controllers.
Exactly.
Getting into the Esports Awards, like when you first got there, was it a hard transition for you to like go from that side of sales into esports? Was it a learning curve for you?
Yeah, it was a huge learning curve. I mean, I've always sort of followed esports, not as intensely as I do now, but, I've always watched it. I've always watched loads of streamers and so on as well. When I first started, I literally had a week just to research everything that I could about it. All the different games that people are playing, the teams, the tournaments and so on. And even now, I'm still learning every single day. One thing that I always say is, learn at least one thing every day. So, you're constantly progressing.
Yeah. And could you tell us, I probably kind of jumped the gun on that question. Could you tell us exactly what the Esports Awards are? And basically kind of run down that gauntlet?
Yeah, sure. So, the really cool thing is, it has been dubbed now by other people, not myself, even though it was something I did say before I started. It's become the de facto sort of award ceremony within the industry, which is really, really cool. People have called us like the Oscars of esports, which is something incredible. We're not there yet, but hopefully, if we keep on going the way that we are, it's somewhere that we're going to get to. But, it's all about really, recognizing excellence within the industry. So, any people that have the achievements within esports, and we celebrate it globally. We honor the industry, so understanding and highlighting the processes that goes behind the scenes as well. Not just, teams that are winning and so on, and people that are winning competitions. They're not always necessarily the people that, might particularly get the award. It's all about everything else that goes into it as well. So, we had a successful transition over in the States for 2019, which was really incredible. We went up against the likes of, UFC Sao Paulo, Saturday Night Live, and a few other big events that were on at the night that we were on. But we still managed to grow our viewership, which was fantastic. So last year we hit just over 7 million, which was really, really cool.
Crazy.
And yeah, man. And it's not just about the ceremony anymore either. We've really built it out to be this really year-round platform with the pre-shows that we do. We usually do these at partner locations, announce nominations with finalists and so on. And then we do a monthly show as well with Tommy T999, which is our play of the month, which builds up throughout the year to then obviously give out the Play of the Year award at the ceremony itself. And it's really grown out into something incredible now, where with the trajectory that esports is definitely having at the moment as well. It's just really something amazing to be a part of, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. And this question is not even in my notes, but leading to your statement just then, are you surprised at the growth of esports within the States? Because I know it's been one of the kings across seas for a long time. Are you pleased with the growth, or do you think it's on track like it should be?
Yeah, I think the growth is amazing. I mean, there was already a boom happening within the industry anyway, with so many more people coming into the industries in terms of like sponsors and partners and so on. People really wanting to inaugurate into the industry. And, you know, with everything that's been happening around the world at the moment with COVID-19, it's almost gone into afterburner because, you know, people want something competitive to watch. People want to, you know, engage with some sort of sports, and, you know, esports allows that to happen for them. So, you know, I mean, I've been watching the esports Formula One, which has been great to watch. You have some of the pro racers on there. Yeah, some of the pro racers on there, but then also a few other sort of celebrities and streamers and actual players as well. So it's really, really cool to see where this is going and how much it's actually growing.
Yeah, I've been watching the Formula One as well. It's gotten so crazy for me that I downloaded Gran Turismo. I'm looking at steering wheels now because I'm so I'm so locked in. I was like, I didn't realize. I knew about the Formula One and sim racing, but I didn't know it was that huge of an e-sport, man. And you know, who doesn't like fast cars?
Exactly. And it's really cool to watch because all the cars are sort of the same level. So, you know, normally in the real race, you've got like the Ferraris and the Red Bulls and the Mercedes, which usually dominate. And then nobody else really gets a chance. But, you know, with this, it's just really cool to watch some really competitive racing because it looks really cool as well now. Do you know what I mean? It looks clean and crisp.
Like the graphics are great.
Watching a race.
Yeah. So like going back into your day-to-day, can you give us a picture of your day-to-day as far as going after those partners and sponsorships? And, you know, I have a saying of make sense partnerships. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing that we want to do is, you know, we tell the story with our sponsors and the partners throughout the year because we really want to build that relationship with them. So, you know, we want to create some really amazing moments with them and really sort of inaugurate them with us to tell the story throughout the year. So, you know, we'll tell the story going through all of our pre-shows, let them really get their message across. And, you know, people that want to get incepted into esports, you know, we do have a great platform for them to do that as well with the audience that we have, with the B2B guests that we have at the actual event. And obviously as well, the you know, the whole ceremony weekend, it is really, really cool as well.
That's awesome, man. And tell us, like, you know, from your point of view, of course, like, why do you think those brands are looking towards esports organizations and like the Esports Awards to get involved within that viewership or realm of esports?
Well, I mean, brands are doing business because compared to sort of the traditional sports, the costs are, you know, really low, but the engagement is really high. So as long as the activation and the positioning is right, then, you know, it makes sense for them to really do that.
Yeah, it does, and like I think because of the reach of esports as well, it helps.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, you know, we've in year one in 2016, we only had 85,000 viewers. I say only, but you know, it's still a good amount, 85,000. And then, you know, the growth that we've had ourselves is something incredible because then it went to 400,000 in 2017, 5 million in 2018, and then as I just said before, you know, over 7 million in 2019. So, you know, the slope is really steep, but you know, obviously that's really, really great for the industry as a whole more than anything.
Mm-hmm. What was the decision? What was the decision to move the awards over to Arlington in 2019? What was the thinking process behind that? Sure.
So we had like some measurements, some key metrics that we really wanted to hit, and we were looking at doing them in about 2021, and then we were going to be moving over. But everything got hit in 2018, where we had over 3 million votes, 5 million viewers, and we realized when we sort of broke it down to see where the people were watching from, you know, around about 50% was coming from North America. So for us, it's almost like we're sort of coming home to our audience, rather than sort of, changing completely. And then we changed the format as well to go from a Monday night to go up against, to go on a Saturday night and really go up against some of the, big shows, big events as well. But, to still maintain that growth was incredible for us.